this computer. Okay. So the Rebbe, his father, Reb Leivik, he was exiled for 5 years to a place near Siberia for his counter-revolutionary activities of, spreading Yiddishkeit and opening mikvahs and yeshivas and chadarim. And over there, the conditions were very, very terrible. And Rebbetzin Chana, Reb Leivik's wife, she would go out and she would find different berries, and she would make ink out of the berries for her husband, and he would write with different color ink, whatever there was available, on the margins of the Sfarim that he had. Wow. And years later, these books that had Reb Leivik's teachings on the margins, when they came to America and the Rebbe came to receive these holy books, the Rebbe, as kibbud av, just to honor his father, he would teach the teachings. He would teach the teachings of Reb Leivik of his father when he would speak to his Hasidim by Farbringen. And Reb Leivik, this teaching is a teaching of Reb Leivik. Reb Leivik wrote his interpretations of the Zohar. And that's what we're learning today. So the Zohar on this Torah portion asks a question. There's a verse in Tehillim, I believe it's chapter 132. And in this chapter, there's a verse that we're going to discuss today. And the initial question is, who said this verse? So if you look at the poem, I posted it on the chat. It's, "This is my menucha forever. Here I will dwell." And the end of the pasuk is, "For I have desired it." Zamenuchasi ad ad. We could look it up in Tehillim.
132.
132. I think it's verse 13. Kizais menuchasi ad ad. This is my menucha forever because I have desired it. My daughter Menucha is having a bas mitzvah in 5 weeks. So it's really cool. Okay. This is my menucha forever, here I will dwell. 3 opinions about who said this, the Zohar does tell. The first is that it was said by the Aron, so holy, when it was brought to its place on the foundation stone finally. So there is a Eben HaShasiya. There's a stone from which it's the holiest spot on earth. And from this stone, which the bottom of the stone is on earth and the top of the stone is in heaven, from this stone, Hashem created this world. It's called the foundation stone. And the place of the Aron was on this foundation stone. So when the Beis Hamikdash was built, the first Beis Hamikdash was built, and the Yidden brought the Aron to the Kodesh HaKodashim, to the Holy of Holies, and they placed the Aron on this rock, this foundation rock, from which Hashem created this entire world. The Aron itself called and said these words, and what did it say? "This is my menucha forever, here I will dwell." Another opinion is that it was said by the Yidden, is the second opinion. When they built the Beis Hamikdash, says Rabbi Yesa, it is said by Hashem, is the third opinion by Rabbi Chizkiah. So the second opinion is that the Yidden said it. When the Yidden brought the Aron to this Eben HaShasiya, in the first Beis Hamikdash, then the Yidden said, "This is my menucha." The third opinion is that Hashem said it. And And it says, so when does Hashem say it? When the Yidden fulfill his will, Hashem sits on his chair of glory. For the world he has mercy. He brings blessing, peace, and endearment for all. This is my menucha forever. Here I will dwell, for I have desired it. He does call. So it's something that when the Yidden are behaving properly, this is something that Hashem declares about the Yidden. Now, all of this pasuk and these three interpretations of who is saying it, is it the Aron, is it the Yidden, or is it Hashem? This is all straight from the Zohar. But we have a couple of questions. So the questions and the whole discussion that comes after this, these are the teachings that the Rebbe shared with us based on the teachings of his father, based on this Zohar on this week's Torah portion, Parshas Pekudai. Okay. So there are a few questions here, because first of all, I didn't include it in the poem, but first of all, the introduction of the Zohar to this whole to this state to who said the statement is that when Hashem when the Yidden made the Mishkan, that is when beauty was seen in this world. Welcome. I think so. Okay. So beauty was only apparent in this world when the Mishkan was built. So first of all, why are we even talking about the Mishkan? We're talking about the Beis Hamikdash. So that whole intro is puzzling. And also, if the second opinion, which is Rabbi Yesa, if he's saying that who's the one that said this verse, this is my menucha forever, it was the Yidden, he should have just said it was the Yidden that said it. But he doesn't, the Zohar doesn't just say that Rabbi Yesa said that the Yidden said it, but rather he uses many more words to say Rabbi Yesa said that the Yidden said it when they built the second Beis Hamikdash, and when they brought the Aron to the Holy of Holies, that's when it was said. So it's a whole repetition, because seemingly opinion 1 and opinion 2, that it was said by the Aron, that the Ark said, Zais Menuchasi Adayad, or that the Yidden said it, it was the same time period. It was the same time when the Aron was brought into the Beis Hamikdash, into the Holy of Holies. So the two puzzling pieces that we have is, first of all, why does Zohar bring an introduction talking about the beauty of the world only came when the Mishkan was built? Why bringing in that Mishkan piece? And secondly, so I'll just recap. There's a special verse that said in Psalms. It's not working. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah, it says you're in another meeting.
Yeah. Okay. So, there's a verse that says, "This is my menucha." Menucha means peace and tranquility. This is my menucha forever. Here I will dwell. So the question is, who said this verse? 3 opinions. One is that the ark said it when the ark was brought to its resting place in the Holy of Holies. Second opinion, the Jews said it at that very time. And third opinion is that it's said by God when the Jewish people are doing what they're supposed to do.
Mentioned it's by the second Beis Hamikdash.
So it's all so opinion 1 and opinion 2 are both the first Beis Hamikdash. Remember, by the second Beis Hamikdash, there was no Aron that we were able to see. It was under the ground in the special place we learned that teaching. So so the question is, why go into the lengthy explanation again and say that the Yidden said it when the Aron was brought into the Holy of Holies, when the second Beis Hamikdash was built? Why repeat all that if the only difference seemingly between opinion 1 and opinion 2 is who said it, but it was at the same time? So the Rebbe explains that in order to understand what's going on here, and why does it matter who said it? We have to understand what is the primary goal? What is the primary objective of the Mishkan or the Beis Hamikdash? What was its main focus? What was its main function? What was its objective? And once we understand that, we're going to understand the significance of why it matters who said this verse. Was it the Ark? Was it the Yidden? Was it Hashem? And why the repetition to go into the whole, to repeat and say by the second opinion that the Yidden, when the second Beis Hamikdash was built, why all that is necessary, why are we even introducing this whole topic with talking about the Mishkan when we're talking about the Beis Hamikdash. All this will be understood when we understand first what is the primary function of the Mishkan, tabernacle, / temple, Beis Hamikdash. There are three opinions. And it's going to, each who said it is going to relate to what was the function, what are the three opinions about what's the function of the Mishkan or the Beis Hamikdash. So according to the first opinion, which says that the Aron, the Ark, is the one that called out, this is my resting place forever. According to that opinion, the first opinion is that the function of the Mishkan, and we see this specifically in the Mishkan and not in the Beis Hamikdash, the function of the Mishkan, and that's why the Zohar precedes this whole his teaching with speaking about the beauty of the world came about when the Mishkan was built. Why? There's something very special and unique that only happened by the Mishkan, and that is only by the Mishkan do we have from A to Z, from the beginning to the end, the presence of the Ark in the Mishkan. In the first temple, we didn't have it because we said that 30 years before the first temple was destroyed, the Ark was hidden away. And for sure in the second temple, the Ark was not there because it was hidden away. So if between the choices of the Mishkan, the first temple and the second temple, where do we see the presence of the Ark of the Aron there the entire time? Only in the Mishkan. So what we're talking about here is 3 stages in the revelation of God's presence on this earth. It's a three-part, it's a continuation of 3 parts. The first part is the Mishkan. And in the Mishkan, the main purpose of the Mishkan, according to the first opinion, was the Aron, the Ark. What does the Ark represent? The Ark represents Torah. Because what was in the Ark? In the Ark was the Luchos, was the tablets. And the tablets represent entire Torah. So, therefore, according to the first opinion, the Ark is the one that called out and said, this is my resting place, because the first stage in God's presence being revealed on earth is that the divine presence has to rest where? On the Ark. And therefore, the Ark calls out, this is my resting place forever. And where do we see this? We see this in the Mishkan. Only in the Mishkan do we have the Ark there the entire time. The God speaks through the Kruvim of the Ark in the Holy of Holies in the Mishkan. So what's the highlight and the most amazing thing about the Mishkan is that it housed the Ark in a revealed way the entire time from beginning to end. And that is the first stage of God resting on this earth, is that God comes and rests his Shekhinah where? On the Ark, which was only present in the Mishkan the entire time. And that was the novelty of the Mishkan. Yeah. That's a very good question, because it was 40 years in the desert, but then there were many years that the Mishkan traveled. Mishkan Shiloh, and there were many other stops along the way. It was hundreds of years, but I don't know the exact amount. but there were a few stops. It took time till they built the first Beis Hamikdash. Okay. So, okay. The difference of opinion depends on the difference in view of the main purpose of the Beis Hamikdash and the Mishkan too. The first opinion holds that the primary goal was so that the Shechina could rest over the Aron, which contained the Luchos, was the place that was best. The Aron was the place that was best for God's Shechina to rest, and that happened in the Mishkan. The second opinion, what was the problem with the Mishkan? The Mishkan was temporary. It was built and then it was taken apart, then built and taken apart. It was a temporary structure. What's the advantage? The main advantage of the first and second Beis Hamikdash is that it's a permanent structure. For what? For what? What's the highlight of the Beis Hamikdash? Number one and number two. What is the most amazing thing about it? Who wants to guess? What was the most amazing thing about the first and second Beis Hamikdash? It's different than it was okay. So a place for who to belong. Karbanos, that's the key. The word is karbanos. What's the main focus? Amazing. The focus of the great advantage of the first and second Beis Hamikdash, not that in the Mishkan they also brought karbanos, but the main big deal of the first Beis Hamikdash is service. There was a place, a permanent place that everybody knew about, that where sacrifices were brought, which represents the service of the Jew, which represents the Yidden service. And even if you weren't a Kohen, 3 times a year, every man, woman, and child and baby knew the place, the permanent place where to go and bring a karban, where to go bring karbanis. And by the Mishkan, it was traveling. It was here, it was there. And when there was a Mishkan, it was permissible to bring sacrifices and altars and other places also. What came the Beis Hamikdash? No more could anyone bring a sacrifice in their backyard. There was only one place, only in the Beis Hamikdash. That was it. It was a permanent place for what? For Yidden to bring their sacrifices and do their service. So here the focus shifts from Torah, which is God-given, to Yidden. And that's why, according to the second opinion, who said, Zeis Menuchasi, this is my resting place, this is my Menucha, this is my Menucha forever? Who said it? The Yidden. Why? Because in stage two, it's all about the Yidden's service. It's our work. So in the beginning, Torah, Mishkan, that was all, that was like Hashem initiating. Hashem giving us the Torah. It's Hashem's doing. And then in stage 2, now is when we actually have to internalize it. When we actually have to do the work. When the focus is on the Yidden. And that's why this verse, the second opinion, second stage, is the Yidden said it, because we're talking about a different stage, a different time in history, when the Yidden, and that's why the second opinion, we do go and say all the words, that the Yidden built the second Beis Hamikdash and brought the Aron to its place. All that is necessary because the focus is on that the Yidden built the Beis Hamikdash. It's on the second time period in Jewish history, which is all about us.
Like when a mother has a baby, at the beginning she does everything for the kids. That was the midbar. And then we graduated. We're now teenagers. It's time to start doing the work.
Right.
You're not just handed everything.
Okay, amazing. So we're gonna go and make this very, very practical. And we're gonna use what you're saying. Go ahead.
Why are you separating it into parts because they're really on one piece? Everything you're sharing is one. I mean, this is what I'm seeing, what it leads up to.
Okay, so you want to talk, if we want to jump the gun, so a little bit, okay? So if we want to jump the gun a little bit, what we're saying is that in our service of Hashem, and like Suri is saying, the development and the education of a child. Everything, it doesn't happen like this. There are steps, there's stages, there's growth. So in our service of Hashem, the first step is to learn Torah.
What I'm saying is all three verses are correct. I'm
Yes.
wondering why we're laboring this through.
Okay.
Where we, you know,
All three verses are correct.
Yeah.
What's interesting about the Zohar, which is different than you'll find in the Talmud. In the Talmud, there are many, many arguments back and forth. In the Zohar, there are no arguments. When you're talking about the hidden dimension of Torah over there, all opinions are true and all opinions have to connect. So the fact that we're asking, so when we say there are three different opinions about who said this verse, this is my rest, this is my menucha forever, it can't be that there's three different opinions, but rather it's a journey.
That's what I understood.
And all three opinions flow one from the other. First, we start with Torah. That once when you learn Torah, what's the point of Torah? Not just that you should be so smart. The point of Torah is that it should lead to action. What action? Mitzvahs. Step one is Torah. Step two is that the Torah should lead to mitzvahs, which is the service, which is puzzle piece number two. The service in the Beis Hamikdash, and that's when the Yidden say, Zayis Menuchas Yad Yad. When the Yidden feel complete. The first part, what is menucha? What is menucha? When does a person feel menucha?
Well, there's so many examples of that, but I think like peace. Like
When do
how
you
Rosh
feel?
Hashanah-
When do you feel most peaceful or most at peace?
When your animal soul is aligned with your God.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. That's
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you feel when you feel peace, you feel complete. What do we say? We say Shabbos Yom Menucha. What happens when you light your candles? The running around of the whole week stops. Everything that you did, it's complete. And if it's not complete, then we pretend it's complete. So Shabbos Yom Menucha, you light those candles, everything stops. Everything stops. And it's Yom Menucha. It's a day of peace, of tranquility, of rising above the weekday and the mundane. That's what menucha means. It's a sense of completion. It's a sense of there's no more distractions and battles and things that obstacles in your way. Menucha is when you're ruach, you're complete, you're settled, you're okay. So the first step, the Aaron calls out. Zayis menuchas adayad. The Aaron, the luchais, finally felt like it was complete. It came to its resting place. I'm here forever. Everything, because we had think about the Torah. The Torah is worried. Will the Yidden accept me? Will they not accept me? And then we have and then what's going to be? Then there's the luchas were shattered, right? The Torah is shaking. It's shaking. But then when you have the Mishkan, and what does the Mishkan represent? That that Hashem forgave the Jewish people. And now we have the second luchas. And now the Torah, I'm okay. I'm comforted. I'm okay. I'm fine. The Hashem gave the Yidden the Torah. The Torah, so to speak, doesn't have to worry anymore. The Torah came to its final, to its place, to its menucha. It's in the Aron. It's in the Mishkan. Everything's wonderful. The Torah is in good shape. Then comes error number two. So error number two is our service. We're serving Hashem, and it's not just something that's coming on us from above, but rather it's our work. And when we serve Hashem with all our heart, then we kind of come to a place where we could call out and say, Zayis menuchas adiyad, and a person realizes and recognizes, where's my peace? Where's my tranquility? Where am I going to be in a good space spiritually or physically, is when I'm devoted to Hashem, when I'm His servant, when I do what He wants. And then I could call out, this is, a person recognizes is that this is the greatest pleasure. being Hashem's servant, being devoted to Hashem, this is where I could find peace, comfort, tranquility, minucha, and I could rise above the challenges of the world when I'm devoted to Hashem. You want to go? Okay, if he gets, let's see, I'll take him back. Okay. Okay. Never know how he's going to behave. Okay. Okay, the second opinion is that the Beis Hamikdash's purpose was so that the Yidden could bring sacrifices and do their service. That was the main purpose of the Beis Hamikdash, was that the Yidden could do their service. The third opinion is that the Beis Hamikdash's goal is that Hashem could rest in every Jewish soul. There's something even greater. Hashem, could you imagine that Hashem calls out and says, "This is my menucha forever." And who is he saying it about? He's saying it about the Jewish people. When did Hashem feel complete and comfortable and whole? When he is united with the Jewish people. That's all Hashem wants. That's all Hashem wants. Hashem wants a relationship, a connection with every single Jewish person. So here we're already talking about the third Beis Hamikdash. Preparing for, because what happened was that the first and second Beis Hamikdash didn't last forever. What happened? We say Hashem destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, but really Hashem took the Beis Hamikdash as collateral. When the word Mishkan, which is tabernacle, also comes from the word mashkain, which means collateral. Collateral is if I owe you something and I can't pay you right now, I'll give you my necklace that you could hold on to it until I could pay you back. So Hashem, we say Hashem destroyed the Beis Hamikdash, but really Hashem just took the Beis Hamikdash as collateral. Hashem took it back until we could improve our deeds, and then He's going to give it back to us because it rightfully belongs to us. And the final temple of the final Beis Hamikdash will be when Hashem could finally say completely, "This is my menucha forever." But even as we're preparing for Mashiach, every time we do the right thing and get closer, Hashem is calling out, even now, you, Yidden, every Jewish soul that goes out of their way to do a mitzvah for Hashem, Hashem says, you are my comfort. You are my menucha. You're my peace. You're my tranquility. He's saying it about us, about the Yidden.
Nice to know that even in Gulas we can bring Hashem comfort and peace. You know, we're always like taught that Hashem is with us in Gulas, and it's so hard for Him and it's so painful for Him. But it's really nice to know that we can, even in this time,
Absolutely,
comfort.
Absolutely. But it's incredible. The Mishkan. What was the goal of the Mishkan? A place. The goal of the Mishkan was Torah, a place for the Shechina to rest on the Aron. The main thing was the Aron and the Torah. The second Beis Hamikdash, what was the purpose? That we should serve Hashem, that we should have a place to bring sacrifices. But what's the ultimate? The third Beis Hamikdash. What's the purpose of the third Beis Hamikdash? It's incredible. It's so that, what does Hashem say? V'shachanti b'saycham. I want to rest in them, in every single Jewish person. Why is there a third Beis Hamikdash? What's the goal of it? The goal isn't that we should bring sacrifices. That was the first and second Beis Hamikdash. The goal of the third Beis Hamikdash is that Hashem wants to rest inside each and every one of us. Hashem wants to be united with us. That is the goal of the third Beis Hamikdash. You have an infinite God could do whatever He wants. What is it? What's His greatest desire? What is the goal of everything? That Hashem should rest inside your soul. That's the goal of the third Beis Hamikdash. It's not for sacrifices. It's not for Torah. It's just to be one, to be completely one with who? With us, That's what Hashem wants. And when we do His will, Hashem calls out. Hashem calls out. It's in present tense. Zais minuchasi. This is my minucha. Of course, the ultimate is when Mashiach comes. But every time a yid is doing what he's supposed to do, Hashem calls out. Zais minuchasi. This is what makes me whole. This is what gives me peace and tranquility. It's you doing a mitzvah. And you doing what you're supposed to do. But we're going to discuss to what level. Because we said just a mitzvah itself, just doing a mitzvah itself is the level of the first and second Beis Hamikdash. But there's something more. There's something more that Hashem wants. Hashem wants a connection with us, not just an act of service, but Hashem wants union. Hashem wants to be one with us. Talking about what you were talking about, a child growing up, and very interesting. We also, I didn't write it in the poem, but we find the same step 1, 2, and 3 within the Mishkan itself. Because what does it speak about in the Torah? What does it speak about? It says that after the Mishkan was built, there were 3 stages. Stage number 1 was Shivas Yemei HaMiluim. There were 7 days that they had to, it was a practice one. Yeah, I could take it. Okay. There were 7 days that Moshe did most of the service, and it was a practice run. It was teaching, education, raising children. 7 days of chinuch. Then comes the 8th day. The 8th day is when you see, for 7 days, every morning they put up the Mishkan and they took it down. Next they put it up, took it down. It was very, very temporary. As temporary as the Mishkan was, this was very, very temporary. Then comes the 8th day when they put it up and they didn't take it down. This is when the glory of Hashem, this was the glory of Hashem came down. And then you have stage 3, which is after day 8, which is the continuation of the Shekhinah being in the Mishkan. So the same thing we have in relationships and in our relationship with Hashem. Think of the 7 days of the education. You think of that as the child raising a child. Then you have we have many great milestones in a child's life, and then finally they're going to meet their other half. They're dating. They're going to meet the other half. Now you have this engagement period, which is very, very special. The engagement period is very, very special. What happens? There's a lot of gifts, right? The kala gets this and the chassan gets that. There's a lot of gifts here. But then what do you have? Then you have the marriage. The marriage is the union, which is much, 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 much more than just getting gifts. And this, the same thing is with our relationship with Hashem. Step one is Torah, education. You have to learn what to do, right? Torah is learning, going to school and educating, and getting educated. Then comes stage 2. Stage 2 is acts of service. Acts of service. We're giving Hashem gifts. Every mitzvah is a gift. We're giving gifts. But gifts it doesn't end there. Hashem doesn't just want us to do acts of service and to perform, checklist. Oh, I davened today. I did this. I did that, and check it off and done. Hashem wants something more. Hashem wants a third Beis Hamikdash. Hashem wants marriage. Hashem wants union. Hashem wants one, which is much more than giving gifts. Giving gifts you could give to anyone, but to be married, you can only be married to one person. It's above just gift giving. And the same is with our relationship with Hashem. First, we have Torah. Then we have gifts. We give Hashem gifts, and Hashem gives us gifts. We wake up in the morning, we're able to see, we're able to hear, we're able to speak, we're able to talk, we're able to walk, we're able to our health, the sunshine. There's so many gifts that Hashem gives us. Gifts, what we perceive as gifts, that is Hashem dealing with us in a world that's revealed to us. To us, it's revealed that it's a gift. But Hashem doesn't just want to give us gifts. Hashem wants something higher. There's a world in Parak Chavav of Tanya, it speaks about it. There's a revealed world and there's a hidden world. The revealed world is where we see Hashem's gifts and perceive them as gifts. But then there's something higher. There's a higher world. And over there, the good, everything that Hashem does is good. But the goodness that comes from the higher world is a hidden world. And when Hashem gives us that type of goodness, it's not revealed goodness for us. So why does Hashem give it to us? Because Hashem wants something more than him giving us gifts and us giving him gifts. Hashem wants more than an engagement period. Hashem wants a connection. And what happens is when a person, we don't want pain and we don't want to experience pain ever. And we don't want to ask, and we say, Hashem, please, only revealed goodness. But when a person experiences pain, after the pain already came, once a person experiences pain, there's two choices. You could say, Hashem, you gave me pain. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I don't see how this is good. Goodbye. Or we could realize that the pain is because Hashem loves us and he wants a union with us. He wants a connection with us. And sometimes it's through the pain that we're able to find Hashem in a much deeper way and truly have a connection to Hashem. But when we experience pain, sometimes we say, Hashem, I don't understand. I was so good. My family member was so good. And then look what you did to them. How could you? And I'm running away. But that is like the story of it was the Pesach Seder. It was the Seder night. And there were a bunch of beggars that were roaming around in the shul. And a new beggar showed up. And the beggars told him, listen, tonight, this is the best night of the year. The Seder night, everyone gets invited to come to someone's house. No one stays in the shul. Everyone gets invited. You go to someone's house, you'll have a great meal, you'll be full like you were never full before. And sure enough, this new beggar, he goes to someone's house and they start the Seder. Kadesh orchatz karpas. Okay, so first they have kiddush, okay, a little bit of wine, then an onion, karpas, right? And then magi, they're talking and talking and talking. Finally, wash their hands, rachta, a little bit of crackers, and then the beggar is starving. And then what do they bring? Maror. They bring bitter herbs to the table. And the guy's like, that's it. I'm fed up. He storms out. He storms out of the fancy Seder table by the right after the marab. He says, you gave me something bitter. Goodbye. I'm gone. Goes back to the shul. A few hours later, the rest of the beggars showed up and said, no, so did you have a good meal? He says, no, I had maror. And I gave up and I left. I ran away. He said, oh, you're so foolish. Right after the maror, they're going to serve the meal. You left too soon. You didn't see the whole picture. When Hashem gives us a challenge, it's not because he hates us. It's because he's saying, Bubala, I want a relationship with you. I want you to connect to me. I don't want to just me give you gifts, you give me gifts. I want to have a deeper connection. And sometimes it's through the pain that we go deeper and we connect to Hashem on a deeper level. And it's a union. It's a oneness that we become one with Hashem. And that's what Hashem wants. So when a person experiences pain, instead of running away and saying, oh, this is Mara or goodbye, how could you do this to me? A person has to say, not lama, not why did you do this, but lima, for what? For what purpose? What's the purpose here? What is it? What's the message here? How can I grow from this experience? How can I become one with Hashem from this experience? That's what Hashem wants. Hashem wants the oneness, not just the acts of service. And the same thing is in a marriage. They say there's 5 languages of love, and one of them is acts of service, right? But love, true love, a marriage is not just acts of service. If you stop by acts of service, then you miss the point. It's not that there's 2 people that can live in the same house, share the same bills, and work together to raise these children. That's not marriage. Marriage means union. It's not about, okay, we're gonna take a piece of paper and we're gonna document, and everything has to be fair and square. You give, I give. If you give, and I'll give. You give, I give. And that's not tit for tat. That's not a marriage. A marriage is that you're able to go beyond your limitations. It's more than just, if you take out the garbage, then I'll cook dinner. That's not what marriage is. Marriage is something so much. Marriage is something so much deeper than that. Okay, let me see if I could catch up here. Okay. There are no disagreements in the Zohar, so all these opinions are true. They are parts of a process that from one to another does continue. In order to get Hashem to rest down here in a way that is revealed and clear. The first stage occurred in the Mishkan, when the Shekhinah rested on the Aron. The Aron was there for the Mishkan's entire duration, not like in the Beis Hamikdash, where the Aron was hidden. The Mishkan was temporary. In the second stage, a permanent home was the key. This is my resting place, the Yidden did declare, because they came to Yerushalayim to bring sacrifices 3 times a year. But when the Yidden didn't behave in the proper way, as collateral, it was taken away. But we know with certainty that the third Beis Hamikdash. Okay, we both. Yeah, I can take him. Oh, okay. You're such a good boy. Okay. That the third Beis Hamikdash will be built speedily. In our avodah, in our service, like the Aron, the first step is to learn Torah. Okay. I got it. Learning leads to step 2, which is performing acts of service wholeheartedly. This leads to the third stage of Mashiach, when with Hashem, when with Hashem we will achieve. Okay. When with Hashem we will achieve unity. Okay. So this is the end of I'm saying that obviously there's many more parts, but this is just in a nutshell the teaching. But I want to bring it down more practically, and I kind of did a little bit because I was speaking about our relationship. I wanted to bring it down in 3 ways: in my personal life, in my marriage, and my relationship with Hashem. So I basically spoke about the relationship with Hashem, that Hashem wants this unity, and also in a marriage. Hi. Yeah. You want to try again? Okay. In a marriage, and also in our personal life. So I'll just start with our personal life, and that is that we have to realize this is really a map, a roadmap for how to live our lives. And it's important to realize that some people have the view that what's the goal of everything? What's the goal of everything, of being on this earth? And there are sources for this, that the goal and the purpose of creation of the world is what? Is schar and oynesh, that we should get reward in the world to come.
Okay, I think like almost all from Eden have that attitude. I think it's really Chabad who really is the only one that Am I right? Like, Yes, yes.
But the thing is that that's only stage 2.
That is stage 2?
It's only stage 2, acts of service, because I'll do this, I'll do this, and then I'll get the reward.
But if
So-
your love language is not.
Go ahead.
A love language is not a level to service. A male and female has different love languages, and it does not, it's not what you're saying, it's 3 steps.
No, so
I'm not arguing with you, I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's not. As a service of a love language, psychology, it's not what we're saying.
But she's saying it.
Because love languages, some guys can be communication.
so there's 5 different them, yes. Yeah. So yeah, acts of service is only one of them, but we can't stop there with acts of service. Yeah.
The button is just not enough, it's not enough.
I know, I understand, but if she's comparing these
Okay, mommy, okay. I'm just gonna stop the recording and then I'll stand up and I'll talk some more, okay? Okay. Stop.